It's Redmond's football report time, and this is basically what we do. We talk about loads of games all around the world, and this is myself, Redmond, and my dad. You can call him Martin.
If you want. Hi folks, as always we have a list of previews, list of results, our game of the midweek, because there was one this week that I couldn't ignore, and we should hopefully be joined soon
by Fergus. You might have seen him in a few days ago, but if you haven't seen him, he's my cousin. And the last time we had a sleepover, and today we're even having a sleepover.
Yes, that is all true. He has no knowledge or great interest in football, so his predictions are generally far more interesting than ours.
Because we're normally quite close to the scores.
Well, we try, and we'll see how close we got to the scores when we look at this week's set of results. Okay, so going down through very quickly, Ajax beat PSV in the Dutch Cup, 2-1 in reality. We got the right result. Universidad Católica and Unión La Calera played out a draw. They're playing the last game of the season this weekend. They're both through to the group stages of the Copa Libertadores. I think, if I recall correctly, I remember saying it's probably going to be a scoreless draw during the show, but it doesn't really matter because that's not what I put down. Alajuelense did indeed get a 3-0 win over Grecia in the Costa Rican League. And Brøndby did go to penalties and won on penalties against Vålerenga in the Women's Champions League here in Europe. Al-Ahly won on penalties against Palmeiras in the FIFA Club World Cup, while Tigres held on for a 1-0, was it 1-0? Defeat to Bayern Munich. Yes, Benjamin Pavard scored the one and only goal. The other Al-Ahly that we were looking at in Saudi Arabia were held by Al-Ittihad for a draw there. And the game that should have been on an hour now at this stage, Oroya AC against Petro Atletico in the CAF Champions League, is rescheduled. So much for that. It appears that the games in Africa, according to FOTMob, the date of them changes every couple of minutes because they don't seem to have good information from there. Who knows? There were loads of cup games. Atlanta went through. Athletic Club, I think, won theirs. Actually, I can't remember that one. Olympiacos, I can't remember, but I know Porto bet Braga, and I think that's a first leg. Lodz lost to Legia Warsaw, which is to be expected, and I have no idea what happened in Odense Midtjylland. Let go of that. Juventus held on for that draw with Inter that we kind of expected. Sevilla, as I predicted, bang on, beat Barcelona. And Inter Turku beat Mariham this morning 2-0, as Redmond predicted.
So we have a draw this week.
Oh, were you keeping score on who did what?
Yep, so Daddy got one right and I got one right. So it's a draw this week.
Yeah, we can say that. Maybe next month what we'll do is we'll work out exactly who's winning. We'll create some kind of elaborate score. Let us know.
Like in a football match, we have like the different minutes. So we have the first one all the way down to the 90th, on the 10th to the 90th, and I think it would be really cool if we could do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a feeling this isn't playing live, looking at YouTube. Oh, no, we are live. 3 minutes 45 on. Hopefully, it continues to go. Please do comment. We will be checking at the end of the show. But if you don't, that's okay. Nobody's going to hate you. But yeah, do tell us if we should manage our prediction league.
And it would be I think it would be a really cool thing.
Of course you do, because you think you'll beat me, and that's the only reason you want to do it.
No, and it's going to be like a football match. In the cup, after there's Cup Mania, what should we do with Cup Mania? If we get...
Well, that was just me saying this is a fun thing this week. Yep. Here, sit on your chair. Wow. Stop fiddling with everything. And, calm down to just manic. So, game of the week has to be the cup game between Everton and Tottenham Hotspur. You know, that one that ended 5-4 after extra time, 4-4 in ordinary time. I think Tottenham were only ahead at the very beginning after taking an early lead. And then Everton were up a couple of times. It sounded like an amazing game. I haven't had a chance to see the goals yet. I do know that Carlo Ancelotti didn't seem all that bothered about it. But it's Carlo Ancelotti. This is a man who wins Champions Leagues for fun. For fun. Okay, let's start having a look at some of our predictions for the weekend ahead. We've got about 11 games this week, I think. So we're going to start with in Africa. This is all over the shop, really. I've got all the UEFA ones together, and I think that's about it. Everything else is higgledy-piggledy, my son John, as they say in this part of the world. Starting off with El Zamalek against MC Alger in the CAF Champions League. That's the African Champions League. It's group stages. They're starting this weekend. I thought we would have had at least one to be talking about already in the game between Horoyo and Petro, but that didn't happen. So we'll start talking about this one. El Zamalek are currently top in Egypt. They're one of the top two teams. I think they're 5 points clear, but to be fair, Al-Ahly have been gone for a couple of weeks and they have 2 games in hand. We'll see where that goes. MC Alger, in the meantime, in Algeria, are currently 8th, quite a bit off the pace and not looking great. They look to have been sliding the last couple of weeks. Please take your arms off the desk. Up. Thank you. They look to have been sliding lately while El Zamalek look solid and strong. Redmond, what's your thoughts?
El Zamalek can find that many goals. Translation, 1-0 to El Zamalek.
There, you get a translation these days. I'm going to go with 3-0 to El Zamalek. They look like they're not on a charge, but they look like they're at the moment in their heads than MC Alger. Next up, we have the game. We were going to Chile. Yes, we were talking about Chile already.
Chile. It's not Chile there, though.
We're talking about them already as we were talking about the very top of the table. Now we're going to talk about the very bottom of the table. We've mentioned this game is between Palestino and Coquimbo Unido. Coquimbo were just in the final of the Copa Sudamericana. They lost to Defensa y Justicia. Stop tapping the table, please. Everyone can see. Just because you can't see the faces you're making, everyone else can see them. They were in the final of the Copa Sudamericana, and it looks like they might be relegated. They are something like 2 points. They've had 3 wins in 15 games, which generally speaking is not great. They're a point below the second last team who would go into a relegation playoff. The third last team is safe. They're out of touch for Coquimbo. They need at least a draw. To be honest, they need a win because they're so far behind on goal difference away to Palestino. Palestino are, I think, 2 points outside of Copa Libertadores qualification. So it's not looking good. It's not looking good for Coquimbo. Redmond, what score did you give for the game?
So Coquimbo gets a win, just about with a 1-0.
So 1-0 away went to Coquimbo Unido, which potentially, doesn't guarantee, potentially would keep them up. I am much more negative. I'm sorry, Palestino, I see getting a 3-0 win and maybe just getting into the Copa Libertadores. We'll have to see. That's the end. This weekend ends the Chilean League, which started last January, i.e. January 2020, and they'll be glad of a little break before next season gets underway fairly soon. Shifting continent yet again onto our third continent of the day. We are going to Australia, which is and isn't in Asia. It is Schrodinger's Football Federation. Please keep your arms off the table. This is pathological, yeah? Okay. Sydney against Brisbane Roar in the W League. This is our women's game of the week. This is first v second in the W League. So you'd be thinking this could be quite a good game. It may not be, though, because there's a 5-point gap and a game in hand in Sydney's favour here. Sydney have managed to score 15 goals and concede only 1, while Brisbane Roar have scored 13, which is joint second best, but have conceded 5. Sydney have won every single game this year. They are tearing away with things. Redmond, what do you think? Sydney against Brisbane?
Sydney gets 2 goals. Brisbane Roar only gets 0.
Only gets nothing. Fingers off. Personally, I'm going for a 3-1 win to Sydney. I think Brisbane might be able to score, but Sydney aren't going to concede many. Sticking with the women's game, moving yet again continentally to Europe, and we're going, as we always do when we get to Redmond's teams, to Italy. And it's Juventus against Empoli in the second leg of the Coppa Italia Femminile. The first game was incredible. It was a 5-4 win in Empoli to Juventus. This is the third game in a row. So there was the 4 win in Empoli. There was a 3-0 win for Juventus in Empoli. And now we have the home leg against Empoli to go through to the, I think it's the quarterfinals of the Cup. Empoli, as I never tire in saying since I saw it, have a gorgeous home kit for the centenary year. We'll be talking about Empoli again in a little bit. They're having a good season. What do you think, Redmond? Can they pull this back? Can they come back from a 5-4 defeat in the first leg away from home?
No.
What's the score, do you reckon?
Empoli will really, really have a great defense. Not barely get any goals past the keeper, but only 1 to Juventus.
Okay, so you think a 1-0 win. I think Juventus are going to do the same thing they did in the last game, or last cup game, which is not have a core of the first teamers, but play a lot of lesser lights in their squad. So we might see Gama play, we might see Bonansea, or we might see Hurtig play. May see Christiane Girelli, as I think she is hunting for a big goal tally this year. We will see, but it is looking like it'll be, I think, a 3-1 win to Juventus. Next on the list, the other Juventus team. Napoli play Juventus in the Serie A men's. Napoli, I've asked you to stop. But I might have to send you out if you don't stop tapping the table. Could you stop tapping the table? Could I get a yes? Yes. Okay, you all heard him. Keep an eye on him. He's not to be trusted. Napoli are currently 6th. They went out in the... They're not having a good time. They went out of the cup. They've recently lost to Genoa, who are, in fairness, up to 12th. But this is not a good Genoa team. They've become a hard-to-beat Genoa team, but not a team that's going to beat you necessarily. There's 5 points between the two. Juventus are starting to pick up steam. There has been talk that Dybala would be fit for the game against Napoli. It looks like he's had another setback, so it appears his extended period out of the team is going to continue. Redmond, Juventus against Napoli. What do you think?
Well, Napoli don't have that much power this year. Juventus